Hey Virgo, welcome to your August 2021 soul story. It's Romy here, and happy solar returns for those of you with August born birthdays. I hope that this finds you well. So we're going to open up the energy of your soul story this month with the world. Beautiful. I really feel it's important to state right at the beginning of this reading that many of the decisions that you've had to make over the last few weeks and months, Virgo, had to be made. And they have been the best thing for you, even if you haven't fully appreciated or started to see the results of some of those decisions and choices. But I have the sense that August is really about bringing so many beautiful victories in for you. Now, they may be small victories, but nonetheless, they are together really helping you to see the progress that you've made and enable you to kind of close off a chapter, a cycle, a period that has perhaps felt a little bit more arduous than you would have liked it to be. But at the same time, it has set you up beautifully. And there's something about this month that is so wonderful by way of preparation. Now, the energy of the world coming in here suggests that we also have some big news on its way. And I just want to highlight to you that through the course of this month, Uranus, moving through a fellow earth sign Taurus, is making some really beautiful trines. The first coming in on the 2nd and 3rd of this month in the sign of Venus, then on the 19th and 20th with Mercury, and the 21st and 22nd with Mars. So we can expect some beautiful news, some positive things to start making their way towards you, and perhaps in an unexpected manner, which is wonderful. I think even though you may have been hoping and wishing and waiting for something, when it does finally arrive or show up, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised to see perhaps what else it can actually deliver for you in that moment. So right at the beginning of August, we have the asteroid goddess Juno, who is the goddess for marriage and partnerships, ruler of that 7th and 8th house. And she's going direct in Sagittarius, which of course is your 4th house of home and family. And it may well be that there has been some real upheaval or uprooting energies that have taken place, and I think some deep release. Now, I quite actually like, and I really don't mind the tower coming in with the world here, because it feels to me there is a kind of point of completion around a period of time that has felt really fractious and kind of disconnected you, perhaps even from yourself, or certainly from circumstances, perhaps relationships. And Juno coming in here reminding us about our ability to find our personal freedom and that sense of diplomacy, but also expansion within relationships is going to be really important. Now, of course, as we're into Leo season, it's 12th house energy, so there is a requirement for deep release through this first part of the month for you, Virgo. And I think you may have some heart and head conversations that are playing out and maybe at times feeling a little bit confusing. There is somewhat of a nervous tension energy that's moving through August, but at the same time there are a lot of really positive, powerful aspects that are going to be supporting you to meet yourself differently. And I do think that there are these moments that are going to be kind of peppered through the month for you, Virgo, where you're having this kind of how did I not see this kind of a moment, you know? And in the deliverance of that insight, that information, that epiphany, that kind of lightning bolt, it almost feels like there's an absolute downpour. It's like rain after the drought. But even though we might look at that weather as being kind of really extreme, at the same time, it's sort of exactly what you needed. And there's something like sort of tremendously like rejuvenating about it. And also as we see the kind of fire like coursing out of the building here in the tower, I also feel that that rainstorm that's kind of set to come in is actually also going to diffuse some of the heat out of a situation. But this idea of it kind of slowly dawning on you and sort of what you come to understand, perhaps about yourself or about someone else or something in your life through the course of this month, you know, is an invitation not to raise your voice, but rather to raise your words by way of your vibration, you know, coming at this from a newly acknowledged sense of growth and how you've evolved through the last few weeks and months. And this is not a time to pretend that you're not seeing, you're not feeling, you're not knowing things. You know, this is a time where you really want to kind of stand strong and affirmatively in what you know is going to be right for you. Your life, you know, through this month and beyond is as good as what your mindset is. And I really feel that you have some strong energies coming in with this month of August, and again these victories just kind of bolstering you and saying, come on, keep going, we have learned, we have understood, we have come to a new appreciation in terms of how secure we feel about ourselves. And if you're still feeling a little bit of a wobble or a bit doubtful about certain things that are happening in your world, or certain experiences that you're going through, the Hierophant comes in there with that beautiful reminder that the conversation that needs to be happening just now between you and your higher self is one of diplomacy. It's one of quiet contemplation, of really listening and at the same time challenging things. You know, it's definitely a month where I think it's important that you can say the hard things, both to yourself by way of that ugly truth perhaps, but also to other people, just so that you can free yourself and create space and more room for the really good things. You know, you're getting to know yourself again in so many ways this month, Virgo, and that might feel on one hand quite uncomfortable. It could also feel very exciting. Now, we've got a new moon coming in the sign of Leo on the 8th of the month. Of course, we also welcome the Lion's Gate at this time, where the sun and the brightest star in the sky, Sirius, align. So it's a beautiful date for the manifesting and the real focus around our personal power. It is squaring Uranus, so the opportunity for some sudden change coming in and around that day is going to be quite strong, but that might be just what you need, just to kind of feel like there's an opening. And it may be temporary, it may be like one of these, okay, you've got to act now. And so there's a level of impulsiveness that I think could come in around that time. And yet the star is coming through here saying, look, this is destined. Like, there is something really important about the way things are unfolding at the moment. Of course, the star links into that sign of Aquarius as well, and we have our second blue full moon in the sign of Aquarius coming in on the 21st, 22nd of this month as the sun moves into your sign. It's making a gorgeous aspect with Jupiter, and in that energy we can also find some hope and some renewal and some peace from perhaps what was stirred up and churned up at that first Aquarius full moon on the 23rd of July. So the kind of the completion point, especially as we sit beneath the world here, is showing us a way forward and really delivering that sense of rejuvenating energies for you. I feel it's a reminder as well to not lose sight of the things that are really important to you, and perhaps that you just need to almost like reacquaint yourself through the course of August, Virgo, with what some of your hopes and dreams and aspirations look and feel like. And it may be that you've been a little bit battered and bruised in some regards, and it may be that you're still dealing with some difficult, challenging wound energy, perhaps in certain connections or relationships right now. And so again, there's an invitation to sort of seek some solace in other things in your life that might be able to give you that sense of feeling nourished and topped back up again. Of course, Aquarius energy is the activation of your naturally ruled house, the 6th house, and there is a really strong emphasis around your physicality, your health and your well-being. We even have Venus moving into Libra, again Venus is the ruler of this sign on the 16th, and so your ability to look and feel your best is also being really strongly supported through the month of August. So it's going to be a great time if you're kind of trying to get something on track and sort of start any new kind of health regime. And I think this is really important, because if you start to feel good on the outside, you're feeling good on the inside. It's just that sort of powerful commitment to the self coming in that I think is going to give you that sense of focus to be able to prepare yourself for what comes next. Now, I do have this kind of insight that's coming through that it's almost like I want you to almost, and this is not difficult for you, Virgo, right? But I want you to make sure that you're almost over preparing for certain things that you are hoping or perhaps expecting to transpire, because things are going to come in a little bit quicker, I think, than you had anticipated. And when they do, they're going to happen very fast. And you're going to want to be in a situation where you can take full advantage of that, okay? Because we have some of this nervous tension that's sort of moving through the month of August, it's going to be important that you find some ways, you know, through your own emotional tools, through how you approach things, to make sure that you don't lose focus. Your King of Swords, I feel, coming in with a really important reminder that sometimes we just have to get it done. And if we pay attention and we do it in the right way, we're not going to have to repeat it. We're going to learn from the process. And actually, we're really going to evolve to a new level of mastery and discernment and understanding within the self. Now, you also have this King of Swords that's sort of sitting beneath the tower here. And the sword is kind of pointing up towards that energy. And so I do feel that perhaps some of you either have already or are going through an experience where perhaps who or what is presented by this King of Swords, male or female, or perhaps a situation, is at the root of what has caused this upheaval. And it does feel a little bit black and white. You know, I don't have somebody who's particularly prepared or willing to bend or acquiesce to you in any way. And there may be a part of you that feels, you know what, this is really harsh, this is really unfair. And yet what Spirit say to me in this instance, Virgo, is actually it's kind of doing you a favour. It's honestly doing you a favour, because where it might be forcing you to make some perhaps more difficult decisions and choices to be able to free yourself. Because remember, with that Uranus energy coming through in the positive, and a fellow Earth sign, there's something very permanent and positive about the changes that we can make, but sometimes we have to kind of be a little bit provoked and pushed in order to do that. And Spirit have funny ways, don't they, sometimes, in terms of putting us or backing us into a corner, or changing the rules on us, or giving us a redirection, and all of a sudden, like, we have no choice but to look outside of ourselves and to see where else we can start to expand. Now, of course, Uranus is also going retrograde in the sign of Taurus on the 19th. And, you know, this is about coming to new levels of understanding by way of your own self-mastery, that spiritual revolution. And there is a slowing down quality of you know, this planet moving in a backspin that's inviting you to kind of really reflect. And here you've got your Page of Wheels, of course, that earth energy. And sometimes we have to almost go back to being the student again, and you've kind of got that echoed as it sits beneath the Hierophant as well. And so there might be a frustration feeling like, how am I back to square one here? Or almost a sense of like you thought you'd really advanced much further. What I'm going to say to you is you absolutely have. It's just perhaps the lens with which you are viewing or seeing things through the course of this month. And that might play out quite strongly for some of you by way of relationships as well, because again, with Juno moving direct, especially in the 4th, it could be very close to home with family members or your partner or your spouse. But what we're looking at here is perhaps you feeling like all this progress and then back to square one, but it isn't the case. There's almost an invitation here to say, no, the game has completely changed. You have evolved, but there's a requirement for you to kind of open your heart and your mind back up again to seeing things differently, understanding where someone else has grown, how you've changed, and how you're going to find that new meeting point, that new sense of alignment and synergy and union, or perhaps find a new level of understanding in terms of what the right energy balance is going to be within a certain environment, okay? I think when you look around, you are going to want to make sure that you are being surrounded by people who help you to fall much more deeply in love with yourself, coming into a place of more respect for yourself. And I think August is going to be highlighting that so strongly. It's like stark contrast, you know, and there may be a few surprises by way of some of people's I guess projections, or what they're saying towards you or about you, or kind of what your experiences are. And as you kind of come to the realization that perhaps those that you thought were friends or really on board with you or really cared about your well-being or about your success are perhaps, you know, a little bit more wired to a different agenda. And that can be a little bit of a sad realization, I think, in some regards, but at the same time it also gives you the absolute clarity that you're going to need to say, okay, well, where do I have to start directing my energy? Because clearly this is not a space or a connection that is going to continue to fulfill me or nourish me. Now, your King of Wheels, your King of Pentacles, earth energy coming through, of course, beautifully aligning with you and reminding you about this generosity of spirit that you have within the self. And as you start to tap back into that, as you start to use your resources more wisely, and you're more careful and considerate about how and where you're expending your energy, it actually gives you time to almost be more generous to the people or to the things in your life that are giving back and that are giving you that sense of expansion, or helping you to become that best version of the self. I also see that some of you may be having important discussions by way of finances through the course of this month. So if you are looking to invest in anything, if from a business or a work perspective you are considering whether you make a certain move in order to allow for growth, or to get back on your feet, or to downsize, or in any regard to kind of changes and fluctuations that perhaps have impacted you, I feel you've got some really wise counsel on your side through the course of this month, but there is a requirement for you to listen and to not be taking things on too personally. This is about you I suppose taking a certain element of pragmatic approach to things, and people can come in to support you and help you, but you also have to really hear what they're saying and then make sure that you act upon it. Of course, you want to make sure that you have those people that you can trust in, but I have a sense that that's coming through in quite a good way for you. Now, Mercury moves into your sign on the 11th of the month, Virgo. And we also, have the sun coming into your sign on the 22nd. So you're starting to feel much more this sense of energy that speaks your language. It's a time for beautiful rejuvenation. You have the Ace of Cups coming in here. And I really think you're starting to look at yourself in a much more confident, much more appreciative perspective. And if you're still struggling with that, I do think that, as I said, some of these victories that I think are set to come through this month for you, this sense of this rain coming after a period of drought, is also going to just give you enough of that rejuvenation. Remember, with the Ace, we're just at the beginning, at the inception of that energy. It's raw in its potential, so we still have to do something with it. We still have to decide how we're going to cultivate and nurture and let that seed grow into something much more powerful and bountiful. And I think when you come at it from a perspective of reminding yourself what's important to you, allowing yourself to kind of go back to basics in a certain regard, and that might be important by way of your health and well-being as well, just kind of saying, okay, I just need to kind of strip it right back at this moment in time. But again, remembering that this Lionsgate beautiful energy that we're going to be working with in and around the 8th, that's going to permeate out over the next few weeks, is giving you this amazing capacity to be able to really reflect and start to direct yourself yourself towards things that are really in your in your sights, in your visions. And more than ever, it's not about trying to fix things, it's about feeling things and then acting accordingly based on what it is that's being thrown up for you on an emotional level. You may also have a situation coming in here by way of specific relationships where you start to feel a lot more secure. Somebody actually doing what they say and following through is really nice. Now here you've got King of Cups, so perhaps this is the introduction of someone or something new in your life that I feel is coming in with such a calm energy. And it's really balancing for you, actually. Now you have 3 kings showing up in this reading. So again, what we're looking at is a month, Virgo, where you're able to command the energy in and around your space. And you're also surrounded by people of influence that can affect change for you in quite a significant capacity. But I do feel for those of you that are looking for that injection of just more of a a lighter but soulful, like deep, nurturing energy, whether that's coming by way of new relationships or taking an existing relationship to the next level. It's going to be important. I also feel there's a little bit of a choice coming through here for some of you, which could be quite interesting. And I think you might surprise yourself in terms of actually, when it comes down to it, what you feel more drawn and aligned to in this moment, if you give yourself the opportunity to really reflect on the ways in which you've changed, you know. I also feel that, again, from a health capacity, you're just getting a lot more information and insight coming in from spirit. So it's a wonderful time to be able to kind of really start to address things that perhaps have been ailments or things that have not worked in a way that's allowed for optimum well-being and vitality for you. And you will, to a certain degree, Virgo, be taking the bull by the horns this month and saying, okay, enough is enough, I now need to address this. And I actually see the commitment and the recovery from a health perspective, but that's also in your mental health and your emotional health. So it's not all just in the physical sense, but you know, finding that right balance for you is going to be really important by way of the preparation of what's about to come into your world over the next few weeks. So I really like how this is coming in to initiate a beginning of a new cycle and kind of bring almost, I want to say, that pattern interruption. Sometimes the Tower energy can really do that for us, not always in the easiest of ways, but certainly in necessary ways. So let's take a look at the oracle cards, see how they want to reflect this. This is an epic new deck called the Ark. I think it's almost 100 cards, so it's a little bit of a challenge to shuffle these, but let's see what wants to come through for you. Tasmanian Devil. Okay, 5 of Wands. We have conflict, competition, hiding from truths. I think more than ever through the course of this month, you know, you are having this heart and head conversation. And in 12th house energy for Leo, you know, we are being challenged to kind of release and let go. And of course, a lot of subconscious fears and insights and information emerge in this house. And so, you know, what we're also coming to terms with, we're coming to a point of understanding is perhaps, you know, again, where we expected or thought that people would be on our side, and actually, you know, there's now a realization that we have to move away, to withdraw, to redirect ourselves. And like we said, it's also this month where you need to say some of the hard things. And I think if you are hiding from the truth of something, no matter how simple that might be, you know, August is going to be one of these times where it's now or never, like get it dealt with so that you can move on, because this preparation energy that we talked about and the fact that some of these messages and information that's coming through with Uranus in a very surprising way, it's very tangible, it's very real, you know, this is not wispy stuff that's like at some point in the future. There's going to be things that are showing up for you in August, and you've got to get your mindset right, and you've got to be clear about what you need to address so that you can give yourself the opportunity to seize this and not be held back by limiting beliefs or other people's behavior, you know. And it may be that if you are dealing with or caught in the middle of any kind of drama by way of friendships or work or family situations, that you also just take time to say, actually, what's best for me right now, and maybe I just need to assert a new boundary here. Maybe I just need to find my spiritual haven, like that beautiful space that just says, you know, I don't have to show up, I don't have to engage, I don't have to be here, I don't have to do that. And I think that sense of like just liberating yourself is exactly what Uranus wants you to kind of take on board. Of course, Mercury is going to move into Libra right at the end of the month, and so there is again this act of balancing and diplomacy that's going to come through here. So you have the white rose of hope. And I really love this for you. I think it is about you starting to see some of the beautiful rewards and the victories of hard work. But also I think after a period perhaps of deep grief, or, you know, having to let go, being forced to give up, to surrender, to come to terms with something, there is this beautiful reminder of how Spirit are still holding space for you. And there's a sense of innocence about this that I really love. It's like almost you recognizing, you know what, at this moment in time, I actually need very little. I need to find a safe emotional harbour. I need to find stillness and peace. And I need to remind myself how powerful I am in this moment. And if you can kind of take that as a mantra to live by through this month of August, I think you're going to start to see some really incredible things showing up for you in so many different ways. So these are crystal oracle cards, Virgo. Okay, so we have Desert Jasper connected into the goddess Vesta, and the word resolve. I quite like that we have this association with the desert, because we've just talked about how we need this kind of flood of rain to come in, and a little bit like the Page of Wheels here, where we have all of the fields and the harvest. You know, they need to be nourished, they need to be watered in order to kind of bloom and come to life. But Desert Jasper, of course, is a beautifully grounding stone, and one that's deeply protective, but it also helps to allow you to find that sense of resolution within the self, and therefore outside of the self, so that as you look around the external circumstances in your life, you can start to find deep appreciation and gratitude for what you've learned and what you're gaining by the experience. And I think that matters a whole lot, because like we said, we want you to be raising your words this month in energy. So everything that you express, both to yourself and to others, is coming from this growth place, this deep knowledge and innate wisdom that says, you know what, yes, it is what it is, and therefore I am fully present in this moment to understand what the next right step is for me. Remembering, of course, that rain's going to be coming in soon, and it's going to bring that monsoon, but from that there's so much new life that's going to be birthed, and of course that's going to come right into your solar returns, which is going to be such an interesting month by way of I think some really exceptional rewards coming through for you in ways you had not expected, Virgo. That's what they're saying to me. Wonderful. Okay, so this is a general reading for the month of August. If you'd like to join me for the extended version, we talk for another 20 minutes or so. You can find the link in the description and the comment section underneath, Virgo. And it's just a way to support my channel, of course, to get some additional insights into what is going on. So I'm just going to invite you to think about a question that we might not have covered in the main part of this reading, and we will go ahead and pull a couple of cards now. Okay, and then let's just clarify this main reading here. So this is the Dreamskeeper Tarot. So we have the World and the Sun. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. Course, Leo season, and the Ace of Cups. Gorgeous energies. To me, they are really softening what that tower is representing for you. Seven of Wands. Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, look at all the new growth that's coming in here. Again, that wellness and vitality. Knight of Wands. High Priestess. Another Five of Wands here. It may also be a situation where there's some news and information making its way to you and you feel a little bit conflicted about whether to share it. That truth coming through is so important, though, I think. You know, the clarification for you from someone or something, or even to the self, is what will kind of alleviate, I guess, a lot of the fears or the anxiety that's been thrown up. Interesting. Another world coming in there. Beautiful. Certainly things coming to an end. But what is coming in for you? Definitely much to celebrate. Oh, nice. Wheel of Fortune coming in with that King of Cups there. Very unexpected. Star. Okay, Virgo, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you a beautiful month of August. And if you're joining me for the extended, I look forward to continuing this conversation. You have a great month. Take good care. Bye-bye.